I now have the pleasure of turning to your neighbor, Lil Eben Sohar, who is Executive Director of WePower, and she has been engaged for many years in different issues that pertain to women, and also with educational and environmental issues. She serves as a member of Rishon LeZion City Council, Israel's fourth largest city, and was the only woman who headed a local faction in the city council. She holds the business development portfolio and the museums portfolio. That sounds like a very interesting combination. And chairs both the Advancement of Children Committee and the Economic Development Committee. Please, the floor is yours.
Minister Gamliel, distinguished ambassadors, Mrs. Hastel, and my panel colleagues, of course, ladies and gentlemen. This is my first time speaking in the UN, and I feel excited and privileged. Thank you so much for the invitation, the opportunity to speak about WePower. As you already heard, I'm the Executive Director of WePower, a non-partisan NGO established by Mrs. Michal Yudin in Israel 15 years ago. WePower promotes women leadership in Israel and proper social change in the business, public, and political arenas. As you heard, my CV, I'm also the business portfolio holder in my hometown, and I'm, last but not least, I'm also the proud mother of 4 lovely boys. This lovely, I think you went a little bit hurry. Okay. This wonderful conference, a celebration of feminism and leadership, reminds me the first time I was invited to speak in a women's conference. It was a couple of years ago, in the middle of my first council member election campaign. It was getting late, and I was looking at my watch, waiting to my turn. The organizer, a sensitive and strong woman, looked at me, and she asked me, are you in a hurry? Well, I told her, it is another evening spent away from home. I have some guilt feelings. Oh, Dad, she told me, we all feel the same. She took the microphone and called up loud, ladies, let us all rise and stand in the memory of the guilt feelings. Well, that was very funny and helped me do the reframing that I needed. We will go back to this point later. I believe most of us have guilt feelings at one time or another, men and women, because of our decision to dedicate precious time to leadership or careers, rather than spend all the time with our family. This is a universal feeling, not only in Israel, but all over the world. And this is one of the contribution factors to the gender gap in the women's representation. So I wanted to show you some political public gender gap in Israel. Now, Maxi, I don't know where did you got this 50.5%. I know the 51.4%, but we're the majority anyway. So in Israel, as you see, women are the majority. We also the majority in the higher education. We have 57% of the students that are the graduates, and we also live 3 years longer. But only 26% are members of the parliament, and only 80%, the last slide, 18% are members of board of directors in public companies, and only 40% are council members. I'm one of them, and just 2% are city mayors. So let's go to the 2%. Nadav is not following me? Okay, that's fine. So as you will see in the next slide, you can see similar results in the public sector. Women are experienced, they are more educated, they have the potential, because 40% of the intermediate management in the public sector in Israel are women, and yet we have a huge gender gap in the senior positions. Now, regarding this data, our mutual mission and goal to catch up with leadership equality before 2030 really needs a breakthrough, something that will be a game changer. Now, for many years, Israel was the forefront of legislation regarding women's rights, but far behind concerning legislation of fair representation. The good news are we are having a breakthrough. We are starting to see the change in the governmental commitment to this mission, and the nomination of Minister for Gender Issues, Mrs. Gila Gamliel, is a great new declaration about those intentions. We also believe that the key to success is proactively promotes all three fields regarding women leadership. Legislation, with the regulation and commitment of the governmental authorities, the public awareness of the importance of narrowing the gender gap, and encouragement and motivation of women, giving them practical tools. And this is part of what we are doing. For the last 15 years, WePower had been advocating for equality in decision-making positions, working with parliament members, the ministers of legislation, raising public awareness and giving practical tools to women from all parts of the Israeli society in all kinds of ethnic origin, religion, and political opinion. In every municipality, just for the example, in every municipality in which WePower worked, the number of women council members elected doubled itself and more. Among other things, we explained to women that we work with that politics is not done near the decision-making tables, but in the corridors. That's why we call the political world the corridor of power and not the conference room of power. Many women feel frustrated when things are closed in advance without what they see as a substantive discussion. Reframing the situation is very helpful. When we understand that the real decision tables are outside the room, in the corridors, we women know how to make the primary discussions needed to achieve our targets and visions. And now, let me ask you a question. Does entering into the corridors of power make you a leader? Our wonderful art designer, Tomer, who is a guy, because nobody is perfect, made bracelets for this event, like this. If you want some, we will be giving them tomorrow. Okay, so he proposed different slogans like sharing leadership, we are born equal, women leadership, and born to lead. Which one would you choose? I don't know. We were amazed to find that most of the women that we asked, even very strong, powerful women, choose the soft sentences like we share leadership, we are born equal, sharing leadership, and not the putting yourself in the front sentences like born to lead. Now, we refer the slogan, as you can see now, to Yes, We Lead. This was a declaration women could join us in. Now, this is very interesting because this claim is very important. Leadership is taken, it's not given. Going back to my own story, I made a conscious decision to reframe my guilt feelings and replace them with the satisfaction of giving my children an education for life about commitment to one's life goals and about taking leadership. WePower, as you can see, WePower works with women to help them find their own authentic leadership. We believe the breakthrough needed for women to become half the leaders of this world will occur only when women claim leadership as their way of life. Ending this short presentation optimistically, I can see that the change in the dialogue regarding women leadership, even in the more conservative parts of our society, the religious Jewish people, the Arab community, including the Bedouins, and the Druze. Of course, today, we have with us great models, these great models, of women managing success in technological, business, and political areas in Israel. I think we can say for sure that we are not there yet, but we are certainly on the right path. I want to thank the Israel delegation and the Israel Ministry of Foreign Affairs for giving us the opportunity to be here with you today, to the WePower team here in Israel, of course, for the great work they're doing, and to all our supporters and partners, and to you for being a wonderful partner. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And now I understand why you all have this half moon, red half moon. I was curious about that. Yes. Yes, gender parity, 50-50 by 2030, as we like to say.